What is up, everybody? Snacky Chan here. I'm sure everyone's been seeing on the news the video of the pilot who died during the gender reveal. And I just want to talk a little bit about gender reveals as a whole today. I started digging into it and just doing some research for this video. I kind of got angrier and angrier and more annoyed. And then I got less annoyed, less surprised, more disappointed. And you would think after hearing these stories, literally anything you can imagine being destroyed or hurt by a gender reveal, it has been probably multiple times. And so I think this might end up being more of a PSA to people just to cut that shit out. Fun fact, not so fun fact. Did you know that between 2017 and 2021, 4 years, there were more than 8 gender reveal deaths in the US? Not only were there 8 gender reveal deaths in the US, there was one that started a wildfire that destroyed 22,000 acres. And then there's a separate wildfire started by another gender reveal party that burned 45,000 acres. And then it caused over 8 million in damages. And keep in mind, those are just 2017 to 2021, right? And tying this back to what happened this past weekend, did you also know that the pilot that died this past weekend wasn't even actually the first aviation death to have occurred as a direct result of a gender reveal party? Sadly, on March 29th of 2021, there were actually 2 people who died when a plane crashed in the Caribbean off the coast of Mexico while they were carrying a trailing sign that read, "It's a girl." When you think about these things isolated, it's pretty frustrating. But when you start to step back and you think about what's going on beyond that with the world, with the economy, with America, with inflation, with shrinkflation, with everything seeming to become harder, that's important to voluntarily invite these outside dangers and inherent risks in an already dangerous world just boggles my mind. And coming into this, my bar for stupid was really low, like very, very low. I was born and raised in Chicago. Anytime there are a lot of people in one place, the law of ratios, right, becomes really visible, right? If 1 in 100 people are fucking crazy, you're going to have a lot more crazy people in a town of, 100 million versus a town of 500,000, right? And so I had a very low bar for stupid. But it seems like there is this just type of person, they're cut from this real crazy cloth, that they're determined to see how can they lower that bar even further. These are like the apostles of the fuck around and find out world, right? And I swear, even as I was researching for this video, seeing events that had happened, trying to find more details, more information about it, it felt almost like I was typing terrorist attacks and then adding gender reveal at the end just to find out what happened, right? So pipe bomb explosion in Knoxville, comma, space, gender reveal. Plane crash in Cancun, comma, space, gender reveal. Homemade explosion, comma, space, gender reveal. And what's really messed up is that in some of those searches, you would actually see different results from different moments, right? Like the homemade explosion search had 3 different results from 3 different tragedies. One where a grandmother dies, the father to be dies. And this is how messed up this is. This is the least damaging one where an entire town experienced a small earthquake. To me, this is bananas. When my wife and I found out that we were having a kid, this was 3 years ago. So in the throes of this was in 2020, right in the heart of the statistics that we talked about earlier. We didn't do a gender reveal. We had we're pregnant reveal for our respective parents, right? So my wife, for her parents, we had a bottle of wine. We had a custom wrap around it that had the due date, right? And it had that they were going to be grandparents. Simple. They loved it. They still have the bottle. It's on their kitchen table, right? When we found out, they asked us at the hospital, so do you guys want to know if you're going to be having a boy or a girl? We said, I said, I want to know right away, right? Mainly because we could begin preparing for that child's life, right? It was designed to be a preparatory step for us to get our ducks in a row, to understand, talk about names, talk about just the different elements of design and love that we wanted to put around him when he was born, right? We also wanted to be able to share that with our family. My brother, on the other hand, he's a much more patient guy. And when him and his wife were given that same option from the nurse, they said, no, we don't want to know. We actually want to wait until our child's born. Keep in mind, this was their first child. Pretty sure for their second kid, they just said, let's just tell me right now, right? But they had the wherewithal to wait up until the date of birth, to not really know, to not go out of their way to share with everyone, right? To have a set time. The surprise was for them, right? And these are two types of people, right? At no point rather, during this entire process for either my brother or for myself, did we think about involving explosives. To take it a step further, at no point during this process did either of us think of coming up with homemade explosives. All right, so let's dig in. Let's talk about some different gender reveal parties, the escalation of them, and a little bit about their kind of origin story. What a lot of people don't know is that the gender reveal party was actually invented in 2008. It was invented by an individual. Her name is Jenna Karvounidis. And essentially the way that she did it was that she baked a cake and she had hidden within the cake pink icing. And so when she brought the cake to her family and they could cut it open, is it going to be pink icing? Is it going to be blue icing? And that's the level one. All right. And as we go on, there's really a few different levels, right? So let's look at gender reveal parties after it's had, 5 or 6 rare candies, right? It's not level 1 anymore. We've started to involve stuff that we could get at the fireworks shop when I lived in Illinois. This is what you'd go up to Wisconsin for, right? You'd get, some of the poppers, some of the different bottle rockets, things like that. And this is what you get, right? Now, you'll notice I'm already worried that the daughter's right there. And it's not going to surprise anyone here. He is not the first father to be who's been nutted by a gender reveal flare. This is a great example of the start of the danger, right? I mean, you probably want to look up how a flare works. You probably want to look up what happens when you light the flare. You probably want to see, maybe even practice with a non-colored flare, what that feeling is like to actually activate it, right? This is like when I got my wife pepper spray, right? I'm not going to buy her pepper spray, have her keep it in her purse. Some guy, some psycho tries to mess with her. She's never actually fired it once, right? This is basic stuff, right? But this level 5 gender reveal, we already see the telltale signs of lack of caution, lack of awareness, right? We see this level of confidence already. Now, fortunately, this one did not end in tragedy. I am a little nervous that girl might have been hit in the head when they activated the thing, right? But so far, no need to go to the hospital, right? No need to file an insurance claim. So I think we're actually a little bit more okay here, right? Now we're gonna level it up. Now if this is level 5, 6, now we're at level 20, I think, right? Because this is you've taken this Pokemon to battle, right? It has some life experience. So if that one was level 5 or 6, like I said, this is gonna be a few levels up, right? I'm gonna go ahead and bargain that we'll call this one a level 20. Right, this is a higher level gender reveal. You've exhausted a lot more rare candies, right? And this is where we're starting to think, man, maybe this is like Ash and Pikachu, right? Maybe the gender reveal didn't want to evolve. Maybe it was happy at the cake, right? With the icing. Maybe it was even happy with the blue flare, right? But this is the moment post-evolution where we start to think, have we made a huge mistake, right? So let's take a look here. I mean, you can already tell this is just fucking tragic. For any of you folks who've never been outside before, water like that should not look that blue. Now, this couple was in clear violation of the Brazilians' federal environmental law, right? So this is as happy as this moment might seem. Not only were there most likely some ecological impacts that were unintended and undesired, probably legal recourse, right? I can't imagine this couple's going to walk away scot-free. Right? And my mind just even thinks here how, I mean, there's someone up there, right? There's got to be somebody who's up there who's actually dying the water. If I'm that guy, I swear, I'm a part of the deal I would have with this couple is you don't ever tell anyone that it was me, right? But like I said, this is level 20, a level 20 gender reveal, because nature was damaged, property was damaged. Granted, that's terrible. No one died. No one went to the hospital. There was really no humans harmed in the making of this video. Does it make it less despicable? No, it's fucking terrible. I mean, these are people. I mean, the Brazil as a whole has had a lot of issues with conservation historically. I think they've made incredible strides over these last few years. And so to see someone do something like this in a place that is truly naturally beautiful, it's awful. It's awful, right? But this is level 20. We are going to escalate this more, right? Because there are the level 80, level 75, right? These are the ones that just wreak true havoc. So now we are at level 80. Why are we at level 80 for a gender reveal now? Well, because to be honest, the property damage was insane. But it's not quite at level 100 because no lives were lost. And I think our S tier for terrible gender reveal parties will truly be noted with that fatal feature. So the level 80 gender reveal party, an example of it rather, is the Sawmill Fire. Now, this is the one that always gets me here, is a lot of these gender reveal fires, they occur in places that have a lot of drought, or they are susceptible to fires. And to see this video and to have that knowledge, to look at the color of that grass, and then to know that this is an off-duty Border Patrol agent, so somebody who needs to have an awareness of the environment around them. For whatever reason, it truly doesn't matter, because this is an individual that has exposure, right? It's one thing if an office worker uh, makes a really dumb decision in an outdoor environment, right? But a border patrol agent, right, who is responsible for policing our borders, right, should be somewhat more acclimated and understanding of this type of environment. So just keep that in mind as you watch this. I mean, geez, that was a half second of blue. That was a half second. They went from saying it's a boy to oh boy in less than a second. And you can tell. Look at this. I mean, a fire extinguisher isn't going to take this out. Oh, here we go. Irresponsible black squares being censored to come in and try and stop something that they have already started. To put that in full perspective, that type of fire, that type of explosion, in that type of environment, one, you would never do that. But two, if you were to do that, you would need a team of people ready and waiting to extinguish that fire. And obviously, the 2-3 momos that ran in there were not ready and waiting, right? Even though they're just black squares, you could tell there's a level of oh shit as they're going. But like I said, this is a level 80, and the level 100 version of this is probably the one that started the El Dorado fire. And this not only destroyed tens of thousands of acres of land, right? It also took the life of a firefighter who was trying to put the fire out. And this is the trifecta of tragedy, right? You had environmental damage, 23,000 acres of land. You had property damage. You had 5 homes and 15 other buildings destroyed. And then you had human life lost, right? Rest in peace, Charlie Morton. To be that irresponsible, to lack that much awareness about what your actions can do, to me, it reveals you can already see this lack of awareness, right? This lack of seriousness, this lack of caution. And to be quite frank, it could only be compounded when you think about this lack of awareness, this lack of caution, and this level of recklessness, if that is what's being instilled into children as well, right? Like, to me, this is an example of a parent that needs to be examined. Are you actually capable of being a parent? That is so reckless to have nonchalantly endangered the lives of a community, to have killed someone who works for your community, and to destroy a significant part of a community. To me, that is tragic on so many levels. Like I said, these are the apostles. These are the head disciples in the fuck around and find out church, right? And that leads us to what happened this past weekend. And like I said at the beginning, the reason why this one is so heartbreaking is because it's not the first time this has happened. I hate thinking it's not going to be the last time that this happened. But the sheer lack of care that you see in this video is astounding. as something tragic happens, it doesn't even break the moment of the gender reveal for more than 2 or 3 seconds, if that. Because this is a part of the stage, right? This is a part of the moment. And so it actually takes them some time to realize that somebody just died right next to them. And I'm going to show this because you can't actually tell what's going on. But like I said, the lack of awareness, the lack of seriousness, and the true recklessness within this video is mind-boggling. Let's take a look. I mean, look here. The cameraman sees this plane fucking explode a wing off and almost perfectly pans back to the couple. And let's see what happens as we pan back. Now, a lot of these people in front, I give them the benefit of the doubt, right? A lot of people today, they live through the viewfinders of their phones, right? So you'll see them at concerts, you'll see them at events, you'll see them at shows. They live their lives like this. Okay, now these people, I don't think they have any clue what happened. In their mind, that little pink smoke trail, oh, what a beautiful aesthetic. This is gonna look fantastic on Instagram. But you'll notice here that there are people who followed the plane. Look at the phone here that's following the plane. Okay? Look at this. They were following that means that there were people who did in fact see this plane lose a wing mid-air and inevitably crash into the water. But let's see how this party responds. I mean, the oh shit factor here for a normal person is top level. Top level. I have seen kids fall off bikes that have gotten more attention than that pilot did. And that breaks my heart, right? I told you, this is not the first aviation death to have occurred due to a gender reveal. In Cancun, 2 actually passed away. And I don't think this one was trying to use a smoke cannon, but all the same, oh, it was emitting. Yeah, see, a video of a gender reveal shows a plane flying over the beach and emitting a pink smoke as people cheer and shout, Niña. So this has happened before and it's happened again. Like I said, if this is a PSA, let it be a PSA. I think the ridiculousness of this gender reveal phenomenon really needs to go away. Because you have to understand here, we've only talked about the post, the damage afterwards. But we have to remember that before the people are paying for these things. They are spending their money and their time doing these things. And if they don't have the money, they're doing it themselves, right? And it raises the ante. It elevates the recklessness. It lowers the awareness even further. And this is the one that made me this was the last one that I had to look at because when you have a kid, you think differently about about other people having kids. right? But what it's like to be a parent, about what it's like to lose a child, what it's like to lose your parent, right? All these things compound in a weird way. It's this physiological, this chemical reaction that happens in our bodies that's unexplainable. But this poor man ended up killing himself unintentionally, obviously, when trying to assemble a homemade gender reveal pyrotechnic. And this one truly broke my heart because not only was it the father that died, right? But every element of the story just continues to break your heart. His parents, they lost his sister many years ago when she was a child. And so this family has just been unfortunate enough to have dealt with familial death at such an unnatural regularity that this just, to be honest, is probably, in my opinion, the saddest of the sad, right? This is the tragedy, the individual tragedy of tragedies. And I thought it was very important to highlight this because we talk about the cautionary, the red flags, the cautionary tales. This one had a lot of them, right? And so the crux of the story here is that in the late morning, this gentleman was working on a device for the reveal while what he was working on exploded. He suffered a lethal head injury, and then his younger brother suffered a very serious leg injury that required emergency surgery. Now, I believe his brother did survive, but this is what I think is important to call out. By all accounts, Chris was not a bad person. He was a big man with a big heart, right? But then they start going into some of the characteristics or his personality traits, right? And this is actually something that you find that happens a lot with these types of mechanical errors, right? That Chris he believed, and his whole family believed, that he was mechanically inclined, which he probably was, and that he loved and he liked to work on diesel engines. He called himself a certified parts changer. He knew the ins and outs of everything for tractors, especially pickup trucks. I've known a lot of guys that are like this. And there are a certain brand of person that they definitely have a natural ability to work with machines. They just have this like engineering brain, right? They can take stuff apart, they can put it back together. They understand the fundamentals of how a lot of these things work. And none of these things are easy to do, right? When you're working on vintage cars, when you're working on diesel engines, when you're working on truly a tractor, any automobile, I mean, the nuts and bolts that go within that machinery are not for a normal brain, right? Like, you need to go through a lot of training, right? And there needs to be a level of passion associated with that training, because the wealth of knowledge that you need to do these types of things is very extensive, truly impressive. The concern comes when folks who have that incredible ability, that innate ability paired with thousands of hours of application and experience, begin to think that confidence translates into other mechanical things, okay? Cars can explode. Yes, this is true. The difference is the fundamental purpose of a car is not to explode. And to me, that is the danger of these gender reveal parties, right? It is when people have this confidence in an arena that they should not have, they don't have. But that confidence converts into recklessness, and then that recklessness converts into the danger, right? Because the line between confident and ignorant is very thin. In fact, it's really more of a dotted line. A lot of times, some of us tiptoe back and forth between the two, right? Because incompetence can only be treated with experience or knowledge. And if you don't have that experience, but you all of a suddenly have manufactured a level of confidence, that is one of the most dangerous combinations of things a human being can have. And that goes back thousands of years, right? And this is like the Peter Principle and Russian roulette put together, right? And these types of things sometimes leak beyond the builders, the makers, the tinkerers, right? This is another example in Iowa, a woman who wasn't even at the gender reveal party was killed by a homemade explosive that once it detonated sent debris flying everywhere, effectively shrapnel, and killed an innocent bystander. The level of incompetence paired with confidence from that individual who made this device is unbelievably dangerous. That's really all I got. Like I said, if this ends up being a PSA, I hope that for those of you that are going to have kids, that are pregnant, that are expecting, you do it right. And actually, I have one more thing. The one thing I did want to show is what I saw to be one of the only good examples of a gender reveal, right? Because at the end of the day, a good gender reveal should be like a good prank, okay? People are a little bit surprised, maybe really surprised, but no one gets hurt. And then afterwards, everyone has a blast, right? Everyone laughs about it, right? The best pranks, the best gender reveals, right? The best moments are ones that you can look back on years later on and have those fond memories of because they meant something positive, right? And so this was one that I thought was really well done. I thought it was really a really innovative thought. Now, there are sparkles of dangerous components, but nothing outside of the realm of danger that these events typically have with professionally staffed individuals, right? There are so many weddings that will have fireworks, they will have pyrotechnics, they'll have sparklers, they'll have all sorts of different things, right? And so this is what I want to leave you with is an example of a great gender reveal. Oh, that's why I turned the music off. Okay. Well, that's all I got for you guys today. Come back again. We'll be uploading another video, hopefully next week. But until then, have a great one. Thanks for stopping by.